Hey, what's going on, guys? It's MJ, and today we got the Object 140 as my basics video. So basically, I wanted to do this video because the 140 is kind of like in this weird spot in Blitz where people don't like it because they don't see that like there's anything going for it over the T62A. However, I actually tend to enjoy this tank a lot more than the T62, and I actually find it a lot more capable in many other scenarios rather than just hold down. So our first game is on Mayan Ruins, and I'm gonna take this aggressive spot on Bridge. Bridge is like one of the most one of the easiest spots to take on Mayans, but also one of the best because you not only get cover fire from mid and sector 1 as far as where the team is, but you also can like dip out to either medium side or through mid if people start to rush you. So right now I spot the T22, the Batchet AP, and the E4. They're all down on medium side. This T22, he's actually going to contest me on the other side, but I'm going to get a shot into his hull through that little slit there, and you're just going to see this 140. Like the 140, its frontal hull armor is actually really good if you know how to angle it correctly. So the Batchet tries to rush me. He gets cleared. So we're just going to keep on putting the shots into this E4 who doesn't want to know me. Just going to pop shots into him. He's just going to ignore us completely. He's going to get taken out right there. And the T22, I'm not going to go after him, but I'm going to try to get a shot on this waffle from underneath the E4. It doesn't go in, but right here you're going to see me. I'm going to start angling up my front plate so that it turns into an auto ricochet. So you're going to see right here, I'm going to get an HE shot. He's going to hit the front plate and it auto bounces. See, and it's like little plays like that with the 140 that you need to do in order to make it excel. And I just don't think people would utilize that enough because the hull on this thing is really troll if you know how to use it properly. And we're going to use the HE that Russian tanks get, Russian mediums get, and it does absolute crazy amounts of damage per shot. I believe 420 is HE on Russian meds. So we're just going to travel up here. We're already at 2.8k damage. Nothing really special this game, just kind of highlighted how you can play this thing in a hold down like scenario and it can still excel, just because a lot of people say it can't hold down. However, I think that's rather untrue, kind of like how people say the M48 can't hold down because you could just hit the cheeks. As long as you're moving around, it's really a struggle to pen the 140 reliably, at least for most players. So right here, the E3, I got a track shot. I'm going to aim for another one. Unfortunately, it misses. 140 gun is also rather accurate. People say it's not, it's not going to be nearly as accurate as the T62. However, it still does the job. And another thing that you're going to see in a later game is that the 140 speed, as you can also say here, is a lot faster than the T62, and which is why it's sometimes preferred in tournaments, just because it can get that rotation off rather quickly due to its good acceleration and good I believe it has 5 kilometers an hour faster on its top speed, which is great for getting to positions. So right there, that was just a basic game of just 140, just going hold down, using the armor to its advantage to get those auto ricochet angles. And right there, second class and about 5k damage. We did do top on team, but we're going to move on to the second game, and yeah. All right, and this is the second replay of my 140 video. So this video, it's not going to focus as much on hold down capability of the 140, but it's going to focus more on just the speed and its mobility, because another thing, like the main, I guess, aspect that makes the 140 still valuable is that it's its whole armor, and then B, its speed compared to the T62A. The T62A has 5 less kilometers per hour on its top speed, which actually does make a huge difference, especially in rotational ability, which is why, like I said, the 140 is preferred in tourneys, just because it can rotate to flanks very easy, and it's just all around faster. But so right now, our Sheridan's going to YOLO into spawn on Halas, unfortunately, which I'm just going to make the most of what I can with the spots that he's giving us, even though he is going to get taken out. So I'm going to go for this 57 just because the 57, in my opinion, is like one of the most dangerous tanks at tier 10, just because, an average player can clip you for 1200 in 5 seconds basically. So right now I'm going to notice that on the minimap that there's a tank going to our spawn basically alone, because all of the tanks on the enemy team were spotted towards their spawn in sector 4 area. So this Conway's completely alone and he's not going to have any support, so I'm going to use the speed of the 140 to just to rotate back so I can get this clear on him, just because so that we're even on tanks, and any gun out of the game is going to help us win. So right now I'm just going to go for the Conway. He's going to go for me. He's going to try a hash, but he fails his hash. So I'm going to clear him. And then right here, I'm going to go for a T-54. I'm going to angle up the front plate. Unfortunately, I put too much of a steep angle on, and it actually exposed my track wheel. So this time I corrected it, and he's not even going to bother pen because it's an auto ricochet for him. So right now I'm just going to move up to this one bush area just so I could try to get shots into the tanks at mid, just because they are pressuring the cap and I don't want them to have complete control over mid, just because they can pivot off of that position. So right here I'm going to go for the 57. I'm going to put in a track shot just so he wastes a repair kit. And right here I'm going to pop a shot on the 183 back up so I don't get slammed by him, because he can overmatch my turret armor on the roof. So right here I noticed that the T92 E1, he progressed far up, and the thing is with like any Russian med, it just has insane DPM. So if that T92 does get if he does overexpose himself, I could just rush him and completely clear a tier 9 tank completely and basically just take one shot in return. So right now I'm gonna go unspotted. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go for this 57. Unfortunately, we got a troll bounce here. That should have penned, at least in my opinion. So right now, I'm just going to angle up the armor again, just so that it turns into, I'm more likely to bounce. T92, he rushes me. That was probably his biggest mistake that he ever could have done. Not only that did he rush me, but he also missed. But it's not going to change the fate, even if he did pen. So I'm going to track him in place. I'm going to angle up my entire hull so he bounces off the front plate on a steep angle. So that's like, it's small things like that where you want to like just angling in the 140, or like another tank for example would be like the M48 Patton. You need to know how to play your tank. So like with that, I knew that I would, and the only way I would bounce is if I angled up my front plate to an auto bounce angle. So right, like just little things like that changes how this tank just becomes from an okay tank to a great one. So like I track the Foch, I'm going to get around him. I'm going to try an HE. I fail the HE, unfortunate for me. But I'm going to get the clear, and boom. That was a 4.3k game, and it was rather easy, I got to say. It wasn't very stressful this entire game, but we get a first class 4.3k damage, and we were first on our team for damage, and we're gonna go into the third game. All right, this is the third and final game of my 140 video, and this game, it's on desert sands, and the main thing I want to highlight here is that even when you do not use everything that the 140 has to offer, it can still be a very effective tank. You're gonna see later on in the game I make two major and crucial mistakes, but I still managed to pull out the win just because of patience and just using the 140 correctly. So right here, I'm going to move up to this position on desert sands. We spot a T62 crossing all the way to the corner at sector 4. I'm going to spot up a T54E1. I'm going to aim for tracks just so he uses repair kits. So there's one track, there's the second track, and that man already lost all of his repair kits. I'm just going to, we spotted one waffle. We're going to move back and forth so that the waffle doesn't have an easy shot on the roof of a tank. We're going to put an HE into him. And right here, I'm thinking of pushing this T62, and I'm going to notice right about now that our team is all over here. So I'm just going to try to clear this T62 as quick as possible. And you're going to see why I prefer the 140 over the T62 right here. Just because when the T62 gets rushed by multiple tanks, it just falls apart in general, just because it's not a great brawler. It's more of just a hold down tank, almost like an STB with more DPM. But it's because the 140 has a very janky armor profile on the hull. It just makes it a 10 times better brawler than the T-62A. And once again, I'm going to use the speed that the 140 has and get back to our spawn, because that's where their enemy team is positioning. They're just trying to clear this tortoise, which they will be clearing the tortoise, unfortunately. But this is the first main mistake that I make in this game, is I'm just going to rush this T-92E1 just because, you know, I'm thinking like, hey, he's alone. He can't do anything, but he's actually going to play this rather smart. Props to him. I try to put an HE, I angle up, we do get a bounce on the hull, and he's just going to run away. I miss HE, I should have just shot AP right there, but right there, he's going to play this smart. He's going to go to the other side of the dune just so I can't hit him, and he's just going to, now he has support, so I can't necessarily rush him. I'm going to shoot the TE-54E1, I poke a little too much, and he shoots the lower plate, which is completely fine. I still have a ton of HP compared to the other enemy tanks. So right now I'm thinking just rush the T-92E1. Bad trade on my part, but we're going to get 2 shots out for the 1 shot that he got into me. And right now I'm looking at the map, I'm trying to assess the situation. They got an IS-7 in mid that's being pressured by multiple tanks, so I'm just going to leave him there. I'm going to try to keep these tanks off the top so they don't farm any of the tanks trying to deal with the mouse. He's going to get a shot into me, unfortunately, but that mouse, he ain't going to poke that again. So right now I'm just going to hold this ridge on Desert Sands just because they can't necessarily push over without bleeding a lot. So this mouse, he's just going to sit there and he's not going to get out any damage. You're going to see the second major mistake that I do. I aim for the mouse. I should have cleared the T-92 in the back just because you always want to clear light tanks when you can, just because they are usually the most dangerous target just because of how quickly they can reposition. So ST1 unfortunately gets a shot into me, and that was probably another big mistake that I made this game. So right now I have a feeling that they can just rush over top and try to clear me and the 30B. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the tortoise body as effective cover and just hide here so that they can't, like, even if they do push over, they don't have easy shots on me. And that's like another thing with the 140 that's really useful, is that this thing has such a low profile that it can hide behind something like a tortoise or even like a smaller tank like a T-62A corpse. So right here I'm sitting here, I'm just proxy spotting them just because I don't want to make any drastic moves on them yet, just because I don't know where the T-92E1 is. So right now I'm thinking that he's on our left, but so I'm using the tortoise body when I can for cover. And right here the 30B, he's going to do something questionable. He's just going to rush over top. And I noticed that, like, even if I rushed over top now, they would still be aiming at me. So I'm just going to let this 30B absorb the hits. Just because, as you can see, the ST1, he was aiming for me. So right now I'm just staying down low. I'm going to let my 2 teammates farm this ST1 completely. And right now this is just a patience game. I'm just going to wait here. I'm assessing the situation. I try to get a shot into the ST1. Doesn't go anywhere close to the tank. Doesn't even hit the tank. But right now, the T-92E1 just clears the 30B, so right now I know I can poke this mouse and get a shot in, just because the T-92E1 is on a long reload. So I'm going to go up, I'm going to load the heat, I'm going to shoot, and just there you saw another thing that the 140 is known for, which is on the move dispersion. It can snapshot on the move and hit their tanks reliably. So right in here, I'm just going to play play games with this mouse, just because I'm just going to keep on poking out every time he diverts his attention to the WZ, and we're just putting him into a crossfire. And because the mouse is a slow, lumbering German heavy, it doesn't have the traverse to even look at us quickly. So I see he diverts his attention. I'm going to load the heat to guarantee the pen, just because mouse turret at that angle, even for a 140, it's not going to be able to pen. So I don't know what happened with that shot at all, but we're just going to keep on playing the same game with the mouse. Poorly aimed shot right there on me. The WZ gets a nice shot into him. He diverts his attention again. I'm going to put the heat into him. And then, once again, he's going to divert his attention. And I'm going to go out and clear him with another heat shell. So right now, I'm sitting here just because I'm assuming that the T-92E1 flex back to their spawn, like Sector 9 area. So I'm sitting here, I'm waiting, and the WZ manages to spot him. So right now, I knew that he just shot just because I heard it. And so right now I'm going to load the heat. just because heat has amazing. It tries to pen tanks at 85 degrees at least. So right there, that was a game where I did not use everything to my advantage that the 140 has to offer, but we managed to pick up a mastery and 5.4k damage, and yeah, that was a game where yeah, we didn't do extremely well just because we did make major mistakes, but just using what the 140 still has to my advantage, we were able to squeeze out a win. Now, I hope this video helped you. I know some of you said, or at least requested a 140 video, just because this tank is an oddball as far as mediums go. It's not the most desired, nor is it the most favored among the mediums, but yeah, hopefully this video just proved to you that this tank can be very effective if used correctly, and I'll see you guys in the next video.